What's going on, y'all? We in a car with it. I don't have my braids. But, really quick, let me tell you how it is. So, this is not going to be a long video because I'm going somewhere and it's not that far. Well, I got to go to a facility and it's not that far. Because y'all already know when y'all see this shirt, good old faithful, we doing our chaplain errands. So I got to go see some patients. And so I wear the same shirt every time I go see patients and do. So two things. I finally took my braids out. And I have been contemplating. Okay, I figured out where I'm going. I have been contemplating cutting my hair for a minute. Probably over a year. Sometimes it comes over me really, really strong and then it'll die down, then it'll come back, and then it'll die down. So so when I just took my braids down, this is the first time I've had braids and I took my braids down and I actually was like, wow, I could tell that my hair grew from the braids. It doesn't mean that my hair has not grown from braids before, but this is just the first time I've noticed. I don't know, call me whatever, but I just feel like, you know, it's like when people be saying, oh, your dog is so big or your son is so tall. Well, I see them all the time, so I don't really be recognizing it. And I don't know if it's because I see my hair all the time, so I really don't pay it no attention. And it doesn't look like it's growing to me. So anyways, I'm saying that to say, when I took my braids down, I was like, wow, my hair really grew. I don't know why I put lotion on in the house, like on my hands and stuff, and then I still put lotion on when I get in the car. I don't know. So anyway, so when that happened, I was thinking to myself, okay, I don't know if I want to cut my hair now. So, hear me out. This is probably not going to be a big deal to y'all, but it's a big deal to me. So, I've never in my life had a sew-in or anything like that. A sew-in, or I don't know all the names. Sew-in, lace front, whatever. The most weave that I've ever had in my hair was braids. So, my beautician was like, instead of cutting your hair, why don't you just try, I think he's giving me what's called a quick weave. I think that's what he called it. He was like, why don't you just try a quick weave with the short hair and then see. And then if you like it, then you can make your final decision. But if you kind of don't, then you kind of know. And I was like, but I'm so nervous. Like, what are you going to do? How is it going to make my head feel? Like, you know, I've never had it before, so I don't know. Call me ignorant to that. Fair enough. So, all in all, he finally convinces me. And I was like, okay, I think I'm going to try it. So, I think I'm going to try it. So, I'm kind of excited. I'm excited, but I'm not excited, but I'm excited. I'm excited. But when I say I'm not excited, it's because I'm scared. I know y'all could be thinking like, girl, what you scared of his hair? It's just I understand that. But, you know, I don't know. I just don't know what to expect. I just don't know what to expect. And y'all know sometimes you can see something on other people and think like, oh, that's cute and da-da-da-da. But it doesn't mean that you'll be comfortable with it. It doesn't mean that you may think you'll look nice. It doesn't mean that your hair will gel with what other people are wearing or however people style their hair, right? So anyways, so I'm going to go on this venture and we going to see. But what I came on today to talk about, or to just kind of like a little quick reminder, is y'all know when we go to funerals, it seems like in those moments we hear the importance of valuing things, or when someone passes away, we get that speech of the importance of valuing things and what have you, or when something tragic happens. And I'm just two things. I'm learning to also the first thing is I'm learning to be okay understanding that certain things, certain processes, certain journeys, certain levels of wisdom comes with time. There are people who can get things very early. Like some people say that I kind of have an old soul, that I'm very mature for my age, whatever. But I also realize that I try not to put so much pressure on myself because I am the age that I am. And there's certain situations where I may not necessarily see things or have the full vision, if you will, of someone who's 50 or 60, right? Or even late 40s. And I'm like, you know what? That has to be okay. Of course, I'm not saying that use this as a reason to just fail, make mistakes, don't care about life, don't try to use your mind to think things through, don't try to use technology to gain information, to allow yourself the capacity to learn. That's not what I'm saying. But sometimes I find that, you know, even people that I counsel, they get very frustrated behind certain things. And I have to kind of remind them like, hey, well, based on your journey, based on, since we've been talking, based on the information you've disclosed, some things it's just okay that this is where you're at. And so just giving yourself grace, giving yourself patience, giving yourself understanding to kind of just say, you know, maybe this is the time where I'm supposed to learn that. Maybe this is the time I'm supposed to evolve. Maybe this is the time where I'm supposed to pivot and begin to see things differently and deal with things differently and have a level of maturation. That is okay. Because sometimes we can get so frustrated because we're going on what society's timeline is, what a family member's timeline is, right? Why aren't you married by now? How come you haven't figured this out by now? How come you don't have this amount of money by now? Why are you not at this level in your career? You know, just a lot of pressure. And sometimes you have to just take a moment and just, instead of always being fearful, or instead of always being doubtful, or instead of always being down on yourself because you don't think that you're where you're supposed to be, what about just being okay and just saying to yourself, maybe I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. Now, this is not the particular video, and if you're new here, hey, how you doing? I'm Jennifer. I'm a life coach, a suicide counselor, and addictions counselor. I have my own hoodie line, theblackgrace.com. Go get you one. I know it's hot wherever you at, but guess what? It's going to eventually get cold. And if you like to go out to eat and go to functions, you're going to need something to get warm. But this particular video is not about if you feel like, man, I should be much further and da-da-da. Because I do understand we have those feelings, right? And so we're not talking about that where it's kind of like, you know, I probably could have made a better decision. But all in all, sometimes you have to just recognize, and this is what I'm talking about in this video, maybe you're right where you need to be. Don't spend so much time being so hard on yourself because you think you haven't arrived. You think you haven't accomplished something. You look at somebody else's age and bracket and tax bracket. You look at other people in other states. You look at your coworkers and colleagues, and maybe you're kind of thinking about, well, how did they get to this point? Or how did this person gain so much success? Or how were they able to get this? And what's so different about them than me? Okay, am I lazy? Am I not putting enough work in? But you don't know what they gave up. You don't know what they've had to sacrifice, and you really don't know their journey. And even if you do have people that you have the privilege to know their journey, you'll still never fully understand everything about their journey because they'll never disclose it to you, number one. And then number two, that the beauty of it is, it's their journey. And the beauty of it is, you have your own journey. And sometimes what I find is we get caught up and we spend so much time being distracted emotionally, mentally, with expectations and comparison, that we actually realize I actually probably could be doing more, but I actually realize I'm letting these things talk me out of making an effort, talk me out of going the extra mile, talk me out of going back to school, talk me out of making a decision that I probably was so fearful to make. So it sounds like I'm contradicting myself, but I'm not. So you have to hear what I'm trying to say. Although you could be right where you need to be at any point in life, you could be right where you need to be, but still need to work towards where you're going. But if you're working towards where you're going is being put to the wayside by your emotions and by your fears and by what you don't have and by comparison and by brokenness, you're right where you need to be, but you also are not growing towards better. So I could give 1,001 examples, right? but I'll just give maybe one or two or so. You know, a lot of people want to be in a relationship so bad. So right now you're where you need to be in terms of, okay, you're single, or, you know, you're not dating right now, but you could still be working towards where you're going by dealing with some of your baggage, if you will, dealing with some of your brokenness, dealing with the illegal relationships that you've developed with love, with trust, with low self-esteem. You have to divorce those. You have to break up with those relationships and say, I'm not going to have an illegal relationship with love because love didn't do anything to me. I may have had an illegal and unhealthy relationship with Jonathan or Samantha, but that has nothing to do with love. So therefore, instead of me having an ought and a fight and a dispute and a back and forth with love, I'm going to divorce all of those negative thoughts and embrace love. I'm going to embrace what it's supposed to feel like. I'm going to learn what it's supposed to feel like. I'm going to learn what it's supposed to look like. I'm going to learn from what it didn't look like, what it didn't feel like. I'm going to learn the language of love. I'm going to learn myself so that therefore I can articulate what the foundation of love is, and what are some things that adds to love, that speaks to me, that helps me, that grows me, that pushes me. Same thing with trust. But you could still be where you are and not growing. Again, I know it sounds like an oxymoron. I know it sounds like a contradiction, but you have to think about it. Let me give you this example. You could be in the car driving, but going the wrong way, but you're still moving, but you're going the wrong way. So you're going somewhere, you're just not going in the right direction. But you are actually where you need to be, because you need to be in the vehicle to get to where you're going. Makes sense? If it didn't and it went over your head, don't even trip. It be happening to me too. So I'm just trying to get you to understand, don't be so hard on yourself about where you are, but don't also get so caught up and so lax to where you're still not pursuing something. Don't compare apples to oranges, because there's so many different factors that goes into your life and your journey. But one thing you want to make sure that you're not doing is, don't do yourself a disservice by, again, having false thoughts, having illegal emotions, having illegal feelings, refusing to heal, refusing to be better. And that could look different. Being better could just be, okay, maybe I'm not ready to deal with my trauma, but maybe I'm willing to write it down. Maybe I'm not ready for therapy or a life coach. But by the way, I'm also a life coach. So if you need any one-on-one sessions, make sure you can email me at jennifercrawley86@gmail.com, or go on one of my social media platforms and message me. So it doesn't mean you have to just dive right in and start doing all of this DIY basically within yourself. Well, DIYAS. Do it yourself and with somebody, right? Because sometimes we need the help and support. But find ways to begin to work towards. It's okay to say, you know what, I'm not 100% where I want to be, but I know where I'm going. And so I'm going to keep making an effort towards that. I'm not just going to stay here. I'm not just going to get comfortable. I'm not going to get lax. I'm not going to get stagnant. Because I know that no matter where I am in life, I'm where I need to be, but there's always a place where I'm trying to go. Whether it's mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, right? Internally. You could be right where you need to be, but still be aware that you have somewhere you need to go. You still have a destination. It's like when you put something in your navigation, it'll say, you know, do you want to add this to your stop? If you get an Uber or Lyft and you want to go more than one place, it'll say add this to your stop. So you say how you could be right where you need to be, but still have somewhere to go. So just give yourself a little bit of grace of saying, you know what, I'm not going to be so hard on myself and beat myself up. And the reason why I'm saying this is because I talk to so many people, and that is a very large census. I'm just not where I need to be. I feel like I should be much further ahead. I feel like this. And I'm like, let that go. It's okay. I'm glad you understand and you have the ambition to recognize, but also be at peace with, but I'm still here though. I'm right where I need to be, but I still have somewhere to go. Don't beat yourself up because you're right where you need to be. But also encourage yourself because you know you have somewhere to go. Yes, I want more. Yes, I know that there's greater. But I'm also okay with right here, right now, in this moment, I'm right where I need to be. Because I'm going to keep my eyes on the prize. I'm going to keep my eye on the goal. I'm going to always let myself know when I was in my 20s, in my 30s, when I get to my 40s, when I get to my 50s, I'm still going to have to grow. I still got somewhere to be. Until I take my last breath, I'm always going to be, watch this, not chasing after something, but going after something. And I like that concept a little bit better because chasing can make one feel like, oh, I'm just chasing. No. I'm going to keep going after. I'm not going to chase it to where I'm so exhausted and done. No, but I'm going to always be going after something. And that something can always be interchangeable. That something could be 5 things, 1 thing, a half of a thing, realization, gaining wisdom, something tangible, something internal, something mental. So I'm going to be right where I need to be. But I'm going to always be going after something. Because what I got to lose. And then sometimes you'll kind of recognize your life isn't defeated. Because as long as you're going after something, who's to say you failed? Who's to say you didn't achieve it? And I understand we have goals of, okay, did you meet the goal or did you not? But I'm just trying to encourage you. As long as I'm going after something, I always have a purpose. As long as I'm going after something, I always have fuel. I always have energy. As long as I'm going after something, specifically from a healthy perspective, as long as I'm going after something, I always have a purpose. There's always a need of me. There's always a requirement of me. There's always something that I can do, something that I'm looking forward to. My life isn't just mundane. I know that's a word, but if that's not where I'm supposed to use it, oh well, we're using it right there. So as long as you going after something, you doing something. No matter what it is. I'm talking from a healthy perspective. If you going after creating a meal plan, you have purpose. If you going after, I wonder come next year, what kind of trips do I want to go on? Purpose. It's possible. So don't give up. Don't be hard on yourself. Embrace where you're at. Love the fact that you have a goal. Love the fact that you know that there's somewhere else you're going to be. Love the fact that you know that you're going to come into contact with a new goal, a new process, a new destination. You're going to always be coming up with something. Love that. Don't be hard on yourself. Embrace where you are and say hello to where you're going. I love y'all. We'll talk soon.